Hi there! Welcome back to the Rare Book Views channel, where I'm hoping that we're going to take a look at some rare books that I will be acquiring. I am extremely frugal, so it does take some time, but I am invested. As you can see, I have found quite a few books. So today I'm going to a used book sale, and I actually forgot about it, which is shocking behavior on my part. This is unheard of. I started thinking, I wonder when that book sale is. Oh, it's tomorrow. So I finagled my schedule so I'll be able to go. It's a really great book sale. They hold it once a year, which are the best because who knows what treasures will be lurking in the piles of books that they will be just massing and putting on some tables. This one is really fun because they only sell books by the bag. I've been to a bunch of sales that they do that on the last day to sort of clear it out, but this is just, that's how they do it. And they give you really nice bags, sort of grocery store style shopping bags. And it's $25 a bag. And sometimes you can find really great collectibles that have just come in the boxes. Sometimes it's really great to find things for people who are looking for things or books to read. And I am really maxed out right now. Books on the to be read shelf. It's a bit intimidating, all the books that I've acquired that I need to read, that I can't wait to read. But this morning I'm going shopping, so that's not really on my list. I do have a couple people that need presents, so I'm always on the lookout to put things on aside for birthdays and holiday presents. And then I have not really sold a bunch of books lately, which means I'm also low just on funds to buy the books. So all those things, I'm gonna look for all those things and hopefully buy a bunch of books and have a bunch of fun. This is a fun one, there's a really good vibe. And then I'll let you know what I find. Okay, I did have a great time at the book sale. It has been a few years and I have forgotten that it is a lot of tables that are not very far apart. When I first got there, it seemed fine. And then all of a sudden I looked up and realized it is just packed. We are shoulder to shoulder. There's no way for me to take any video. So I'll just show you the books that I acquired, which is plenty. I bought a lot of books. I bought 2 bags. They were $25 a bag. I counted. I think it's about 43-ish books. And then some are going to friends with kids, and I don't really count those because I just shove them in the corners of the bag. So I think it worked out to about $1.40 a book. A lot of them are amazing bargains. And I will show you around. I did get, this is a little nutty. Just a little shocked I did this. Nancy Drew, the vintage, this is a matte cover. This is, sometimes people call this the yellow spine matte cover version. I think these are 70s. They came out in a couple different formats, and this one has the end papers with these sort of cameo silhouette type things. I bought 23 of these, and when you sell them as a lot on eBay, people want the whole collection. So what I am probably gonna do is set these aside and see if I can find the missing ones. There is no number 8, and they kind of tap out around the 30s. Nancy Drew, the originals in the hardbacks, I think they went to 52, and number 52 is very elusive. So I will just see if I can fill in some of them in the next few trips that I take, next book hunts that I go on, and if I can get, say, 1 to 35 or something like that, I can list that on eBay for $45, something like that, and that will pay for most of my trip today. So that is really cool. I also found a vintage Hemingway. Hemingway is very sought after. I don't personally read Hemingway. I like to read the classics, and I like to read a vintage copy when I do. And if I wanted to read a Hemingway, this would be a great style of book to do that, but I'm just not a big fan. It just doesn't really do it for me. I can tell you, this is a good one to talk about edition though. This style of dust jacket, it clearly screams vintage to me. The price is $3, so this is definitely a while ago. A lot of the original Hemingways have this black cover with some gold type, sometimes light blue type on them. This is Scribner, that was his publisher. And the copyright page says 1950. Scribner at the time did this number. There's a seal here. This is the Scribner crest. It's not really a crest, so I guess a seal. And then they have a publisher code for first editions right here. It'll have a capital letter A. So I know this isn't a first edition. It is vintage. This, I'm told, I need to do some research. This, a movie version of Across the River into the Trees. A movie version just came out at one of the festivals, and someone famous, Lee Scribner, maybe, is in it, so it could be popular. The book market, the used book market, often the stock goes up when there's a movie if the movie's good, or someone famous is in it, or someone pretty is in it. So if people like this movie and they want to read a vintage copy, this book will be more valuable than normal. So that'll be interesting for me to play the stock market on eBay. I always enjoy that. I always list my books almost always as an auction just to see what will happen, which is really fun. Since this cost me $1.40, I can list it for maybe $10. It's very conservative, and then hopefully bidders will get excited about it and get carried away. This is cool. This is a vintage Anne of Green Gables. The dust jacket has had a little bit of a hard life. This is a gray version. There is a version where this type of illustration is the whole book, and then there, of course, the vintage copy, the original was they were so pretty. They've got a nice cover and then a illustrated paste down and gilt, and I have a few of those, and I did a video of my Ella Montgomery collection, so I can put a link to that video in the notes if you're interested in Ella Montgomery. These have really retained value. People really like to have a vintage copy, and they are really fun. The cover without the dust jacket is also really cute. They are, I'm trying to be careful, they're sort of a tweed, and I just think they're very cute. This dust jacket, because it's had a hard life, I will put a broad art cover on it, an archival cover that'll help it not get, the tears will not get worse at least, and it also gives it a little, polishes it up a little bit, gives it a nicer look. And I did a video of how to put the broad art cover on, so I'll put a link to that as well. I can list that for $8 to $10 maybe in that condition, and so that will help me with my being able to afford more books that are exciting. This is probably the crowning achievement of the day. This is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller, and this is, I believe, a first edition stated 6th printing. We've talked about these things on here before, but as a catch-up, so right here, 6th printing. That's not the 6th edition. The way that they usually use, what we normally mean when we say edition and printing, is edition is when the text has changed, and the printing is when we ran out of copies. So this is published by Simon & Schuster back in the day, and what would have happened is the publisher, Simon & Schuster, would have asked the printer for a certain number of books to be printed. That's the first edition. If at some point they took a book off the line and realized that there was a typo on page 201 and they change it, that's going to be the 2nd edition. Sometimes people call it the first edition 2nd state, which is incredibly confusing to me. But the printing is if we printed 1,000 copies and they just flew off the shelves and we ran out of them, and we're reprinting it with no change. That's the 2nd printing. This is the 6th printing, so it is a first edition. First editions of Catch-22 are rare, so I will show you. This is what the cover looks like. There's a modern reprint of the trade paperback that uses this cover, and it has the same thing on the spine. So if you're ever at a book sale and you see this, this leaps out to me. At this sale, they were all spine up. So I saw the spine and thought, oh, this is vintage. I wonder if it's a book club edition. I don't think it is. It has the price right here. And then it has that on the copyright page. It looks pretty good. Sometimes on a book club edition, which is a reprint separate from all the other editions that we just talked about, the book club edition is going to be usually more affordable to print. So usually they cut it down in size, or the paper is thinner, something like that. Sometimes there's a code right here. It's not the book code, the International Standardized Book Number, the ISBN. It's just like a 5-number code that the book club uses. And this one doesn't have it. I believe this is an actual first edition, but later printing, 6th printing. So I can't find any that have sold recently. I'm probably going to list this for about $100. I will definitely put a broad art on it to spruce it up a little bit. And it is getting a little bit worn here. You can see where this has been rubbing against something. Maybe the book next to it got a little more attention, and so it got taken in and out. But it is a beautiful book. There is something crazy going on here. I actually sold a first edition of this book before with no dust jacket. I've never seen one with the dust jacket. You can almost see right here, this is called the gutter sometimes, the split between the end papers, and the webbing is showing, and that's the material that binds the book together. It happens a lot in old books. When I list this, I will explain that that is visible, and I will talk about all of the flaws. When you buy a book on eBay, you hope people do that. But I try to be a good citizen. of eBay and of books in general. So I always try to point out anything that somebody might find when they open the box. I also found, so I collect children's books that I really loved as a kid. I love to have a special copy, as well as the classics that I like to collect a nice copy. These are children's books that I did not read. These were incredibly popular, and they were popular when I worked at Barnes & Noble in high school, college. These were huge bestsellers, and at Barnes & Noble at the time we did this, there was a special shelf, or a special section for the bestsellers, and you have to rearrange them in the order on Saturday night, I think. And so at the end of the day on a Saturday, we're all running around trying to get enough copies to fill in the thing and change the stickers. So I remember these books distinctly, but I haven't really read them. I never fell in love with them. I found these in the book sale though. Redwall, I think, is the first one. This is just a later book in the series. They both have a signature. I believe this is the signature of the author. Of course, I don't know that. So I will somehow, when I describe this, I will say, appears to be, right? I'll look at some other ones and see if I can see an example. He's got this circle over the eye, just like Disney. So I will find some other examples. These are not first editions, and this is, I've never heard, Phillip publisher? Sure. They use the number line. So this is like a modern way of doing it. They have this line, and the lowest number is usually the printing or edition, 30. This is weird because I can't find a later printing that's signed that has sold in auction or anything. So it's hard to say value, but I will start low and let the market take it. This is the other one. And just see what happens. But again, I paid $140 for these, and hopefully there is a huge Brian Jacques fan out there who is going to be thrilled to have a signed copy, or someone is going to buy this as a present for that person, and everyone will be happy about it and have a new home. I think that's awesome. And even though I said I wasn't going to buy books to read because I have too many, I did, of course. I was just saying the other day that I really loved Philip K. Dick. I read Do Android Sheep Dream? Is that the title? That was the inspiration for Blade Runner, a movie I found confusing. And the new one, slightly less confusing. But the book I thought was fascinating, and it is loosely influencing that movie. And I was just telling someone, I thought he was really great. I wish I could find another book. And it's a bag sale, you just stuff it in there. And then I also found a book by Anthony Horowitz. I read The Magpie Murders, which was wonderful. What a great plot. What a great murder mystery. So good. So this one, I actually saw a copy of that and thought, I wish I had someone to buy this for. What a great book. And then next to it was this one, which I have not read or really even heard of. So more books for the to be read shelf. I found these for my friends who have kids who are looking for reading material, and we all want that to be affordable. I have a friend who's collecting the Wimpy Kid books, and I have a friend who's collecting the Bad Kitty books. Apparently, they look really cute. I wish this had been a thing when I was a kid. I have a friend, her son is very into that, and he's very into cats. So I also picked this up because it was bag sale, and it's about cats. I don't know anything about it. I can't wait to hear a review. I did want to mention, this is what happens with kids' books. This is basically new. Nice and sharp. Look at that binding. This is basically new. These books end up at book sales and charity shops and things like that where they already had a copy. Someone gave it to them as a gift, or their kid just wasn't into this book, or whatever. So basically brand new. And my friend is looking for these, really wants them, so we'll find a new home. This is another copy. It is not as new. This is what happens. Some of this is called cocked. The binding is cocked. And you can see it's been shoved on a shelf. This poor book. It's been shoved on a shelf at this weird angle with the spine out of kilter. And it kind of gets stuck that way eventually. We've basically trained it to be like this. And this is why you want to give your books, when they're on the shelf, plenty of room to breathe. You want them to kind of move in and out freely. If they get in there too tightly, and I've seen this in bookstores, and it just makes me wonder what they're thinking. If they get in too tight, they can get like this where they're not really square in the shelf. They're sort of shoved in, and eventually you're going to get this kind of cocked spine. I talked about this once, and somebody said they would have called it cattywampus spine, and I think that sounds better. But I think it's better, more descriptive. I am going to get, my husband's very handy, and I'm going to see if he has a vise, if we can do that. But these are essentially free books, right? I just put this in the bag with everything else. And my friend wants this for her son. This is not a keepsake, right? He's going to read this a few times. So I think it's fine for kids' books. But a reminder, be nice to your books. Give them plenty of room to breathe. I also got at this sale UK Harry Potters. These are really fun. They use the British spellings and colloquialisms, and I always pick them up because if you can put the whole series together, they are kind of worth a lot. And these were less than $1.50. I have a few of these already because I can't stop buying them, and I don't have 1 through 7. I definitely have 1 through 4, and there is a movie coming out, so 1 through 4 could be, I don't know, $15 maybe. And if I'm paying $1 per, it's not bad. This makes me so happy. These are Arthur Rackham reprints, the illustrator. I love Arthur Rackham. He's so amazing. His stuff is just mind-blowingly good. This, and expensive, you can buy, I mean, they really run the gamut. It's like buying a car, buying a Rackham. You can buy an original. They have some on vellum that were limited edition where he signed them. And then you have later reprints. And this is a great publisher who made very economical reprints of some of his works. So this one is Aesop's Fables. This is reprinted several times, and even this company reprinted it. And in this one, the paper is really nice, and this is virtually a brand new copy. They've published the color plates, Rackham's really amazing work, and they've also got these, he did some black and white woodcut type things in a lot of the books. They published them, you can almost see it. They put some of the illustrations throughout, but together. And the original book, they were individual plates pasted into a page with a tissue paper. Beautiful. And this is a reprint. So if you want to enjoy the illustrations, this is a great way to do it. This would be very inexpensive to buy. I think on eBay, this one, Aesop's, $5 to $10 plus shipping. Really not bad. Grimm's Fairy Tales, larger format, same publisher, Weathervane. And then look at, so cool in the text. And then here's one of the color ones, and it's a full page next to the text, and it's just, they did back to back in Grimm's, but they are throughout the text, which is a more expensive way to print it. And then the Poe. This is the same copy I have because the Poe Rackham, the leather bound, the older ones, crazy money. And this is a great copy. And it also, it's a lot of, he did these huge black and white illustrations. Here they published them throughout the text. And then individual plates. I think the color contrast is a little better. I think the detail in this copy, and it's much larger. This is maybe $15 on eBay, the Poe, and I think it's wonderful. And if you enjoy a little bit of creepy or macabre or Poe, Rackham is your guy. He really did an amazing job with that kind of illustration. This is really his forte. Fairy tales, Poe, things like that. The Ring cycle, some great things. I did a video on my Rackham collection. I have quite a few. And I will put a link to that also. So this sale, that's what I bought. I bought a lot of books, and I bought stuff for my friends. I get such a charge out of finding a reasonably priced copy of a book that my friends want for their kids. Books are expensive, especially when you read a lot of them, and we want kids to read a lot. So I just think it's great to find a book that someone didn't have use for and find it a new home at a reasonable price. I just, oh God, I love it. I love finding something on the list. So I did really good at that today. I found some things to read, even though I didn't mean to. And then I found a bunch of things that I'll be able to find new homes for, probably special copies, autographed, early editions. People are gonna be excited to have. And then that is how I will afford to buy the things that I'm excited to have. Though obviously I far prefer a frugal copy. So I thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you're collecting. Let me know if are you frugal like me? Do you want the book, or do you want the book at a great price? Let me know, I'm interested to hear. I really appreciate everybody supporting my weird hobby of telling strangers about my book shopping trips, because it's so much fun when I get home. Oh, I found such great things. I can't wait to share it. So thank you for all of that. Thank you for the questions and the comments. It's really fun for me to see. If you like this style of video of the book shopping, let me know. Let me know how sad you are that I couldn't take video, and if I should try really hard when it's crowded, just so I'll know. I'm sorry about that. And let me know what you're reading and collecting. Thank you for watching. Happy reading.